ahead and get started. And as we go through this, just type into the chat if you have any questions. Stop me, feel free. I know I can just sort of talk, and this is my baby, so I know it very well. So if there's anything I'm doing and I'm doing too quickly or I'm popping around too much, just please speak up, let me know that, and I will try to slow myself down and explain. I do want to just quickly go over an agenda. The agenda for this will be to start. We're going to go over the enrollment windows, why and when they open. I imagine probably everyone on this call has been somewhat mystified by those numbers, like you have 64 days left. So we'll go over that, the enrollment flow, the benefits eligibility window, and some consequences of not completing the enrollment flow, when we should be using the modified current versus the update benefits, and then we'll look at the timeline and change history a little bit as well. So I don't have a PowerPoint since this is all within Navigator, but I did just want to have a quick agenda. So with the enrollment windows, often the issue I hear is so-and-so says they have 64 days left to enroll, but they were hired back in March. What's going on here? So I wanted to look at a couple of those with you guys. So we're going to look here at Alice Cooper, who is a new hire, and it says this person has 64 days to complete their elections. So I'm going to look at the profile real fast, check out their employment date. So it was just this month. So that makes sense, right? That seems, but we really want them electing within that 30 days typically, right? So why is this set this way? So I'm going to do a quick tab change here and look at the benefits field and settings and the enrollment window. This gives you how it's set up, and it has to be set up this way, inclusive of all benefits. So I'll explain myself a little further. This one is set up to open 60 days before the plan effective date and to close 30 days after. So if you think about when this person was hired and they have 60 days before the plan effective date. So if they were hired 5/8 and their effective date is 7/1, that makes sense, right? So the reason that this can be changed, and you can have fewer days, but the reason this is set this way is because this group has some benefits that have a 30-day wait and some others that have a 60. So those 30-day wait benefits, you don't really have that many days, but unless you all have exactly the same wait on every benefit, this is going to affect that. So for example, if one of your waits for life is 90 days, I need to set this out to 90. Otherwise, it's not going to have that benefit within the new hire window because it doesn't read it that way. So if your life wait is 90 and your medical wait is 30, we have to set the window out to 90 so that both benefits can be elected at the same time, or you're going to have new hires go in 3 different times if there are 3 different waits, or 2, it just turns into a crazy thing. So know that these numbers, when we're looking over here at Alice and these numbers and those emails they get, which by the way, we can turn those emails off if it confuses people too much, we can turn those emails off, but that does take away those reminders. So if you'd like to do that, just let me know offline. So this, to point this, to say succinctly, this person has 64 days left prior to the effective date. This doesn't speak to what's allowed from a benefits administration standpoint. This only speaks to the effective date. And I understand that with Employee Navigator, that is something that has been mentioned to them that isn't exactly correct. The change has not yet been made, but it seems to be noted by many brokers. So we'll see what we get there. So I just want to look at one more. Johnny Be Good just became newly eligible, and it says he has 34 days left. So I just ran this today to have him be newly eligible. So if you think about that, this window would have opened 60 days prior to the start of the benefit date. However, since the benefit effective date for this person, based on the date it was given for the QLE, there's only 4 days left. So this is a 6/1 effective. So if you think through that, there's 4 days before 6/1, and then it's going to be open for another 30 days. excuse me, why? Because the life benefit has a 60-day wait, or something else has a 60-day wait. Is that making sense to everybody, I hope? So the best way to avoid this within Employee Navigator is to have all of your effective dates match up. So to have, if you have a 90-day wait on life, have a 90-day wait on medical. It's back and forth. But we understand you may not want to do that. But I just want you to be aware of why those numbers sometimes look a little bit funky. Does anyone have any questions on that before I continue? All right. So the next little piece I wanted to go through with everybody is the enrollment flow and the benefits eligibility window. So I'm going to go to, type today, our Dubs, my initials, very clever. So this person was part-time eligible, never completed her enrollment flow when she was part-time eligible. She just didn't go in. She said, I have coverage everywhere else, doesn't matter. So a couple of things happen. One thing that happens is you don't get any of your ER employer paid benefits. Employee Navigator, as you all know, has attempted to fix that with auto enroll. It's currently off because they're working through those adjustments and fixes. But once that goes back on, and I do expect it will be successful once it goes back on, you'll no longer have to worry about those. So that's a really good thing that has recently been changed. However, what you end up with, so our Dubs didn't want any of these benefits at 1/1 when she was first eligible. Fine, no problem. My recommendation is to go have them go in and decline anyway, and I'm going to show you why. So we're going to skip forward just a little bit and look at the timeline real quick. So she went from 30 to 39 hours, or that's what she originally was 30 to 39 hours back to her hire date. You can see I just did all of this morning, but we're going with it. So until today, she's been a part-time benefit eligible employee. So there's some benefits she was eligible for, in this case, most of them. So then she became eligible for all of these. Let's just pretend this is back in August. You can see she never went in and made any elections because you would see that there. So today I made her full-time, 40-plus hours, and it made her eligible for life and AD&D. And so I get the phone call. I'm going to get the phone call from someone, one of you guys, who says, why aren't all of her benefits in her newly eligible window? Why is it just life? And I'm going to say to you, that's because this person did not elect these benefits when she was first eligible. Had she gone in, and I'm just looking at modified current to see that she just didn't do anything. You'd have those little check marks, right? So when you click on that, it'll show you she should have been eligible 1/1. So she was eligible for all these benefits. So our system is saying, sorry, you were eligible 1/1. You're now eligible for the life benefit, so you can now elect that. But at the time you were eligible, you declined. So we know between us, we're still going to make it happen. I just want you guys to know that when something like that happens, when they don't go through the flow at all because they don't need the benefits or they don't want them, conceivably there's nothing wrong with that. But since this system is rules-based and it only understands what you tell it, it's going to only give her the benefit for which she's actually newly eligible. So if this happened, and I think it's happened to some of you on the call, I'm going to say, all right, well, tell me what she wants, and then I'll go in and I'll make those elections and I'll change the date on the back end. So to avoid that, it's great. It's just best practice to message to your employees that they just go in, even if they don't want any of the benefits, make those declinations, and then the system will understand at another QLE that then they're actually eligible and should have those benefits. Does that make sense? I hope so. The only other thing I wanted to mention in regard to benefits eligibility, and you can see it on this one as well, everybody knows to look at the benefits summary. I think what a lot of people forget is this little tab right here, benefits eligibility. This little guy will save my life pretty regularly. you can see right away, this is newly eligible. So these are benefits that are going to be in that newly eligible window. You've only got the one. So then you can start thinking, well, why in the heck? Well, plan start date, 1/1. Eligibility, 1/1. Eligibility, 1/1. See, so you can kind of look when you're having those events occur when you're like, why aren't these benefits coming up in my newly eligible window? This screen may help to let you know what happened. The next place that will be very helpful, and like I said, I skipped forward just a little bit, is the timeline. And again, I'm just going to skip it real quick. I'm going to show you one other thing. We're going to go over the modify current versus update benefit. So a lot of times I get the question of, should I use modify current or current enrollments, this tab right here, or should I use the update benefit? The only time you're going to be using modify current is it'll tell you here, to data entry errors. I'm going to say use the update benefits tab for enrollment changes due to life events. So update benefits I think of as QLE, modify current I think of as something, we're fixing something that should always have been true. So let's say for our dubs, you may have noticed when I went here before that dental was clicked off because I just wanted to make sure that this would show up correctly. So let's say that you get a call, you know, I've been on medical all year, but it's just not showing up in my profile. What's going on? So we know it's not a carrier problem. We're in modify current right now. And you call me and say, okay, so-and-so should have been on all year. All you need to do to have them show up as on all year, assuming you've been paying for them, assuming that they are correct in the carrier, is to come in here, select the appropriate plan, hit a save and continue. And that is going to show up. I'm going to go back to her homepage, benefits summary, and it's going to show up right there as of 1/1. So there's nothing we need to do else because you've been paying for her and the carrier already has the information. If they haven't been paid and the carrier doesn't have the information, that's obviously an escalated issue that we have to handle a different way. But if you just need to modify the enrollment based on something that was already true, you're going to use modify enrollment. And if you're running a QLE for something going forward, you're going to use update benefits. So again, I think of it as modify current fixes what should have always been true, and update benefits adjusts what is true going forward, if that makes sense, to sort of simplify it. So then this leads us into the timeline. The timeline is my go-to place when I want to know what's going on with a particular individual. So you can see here, anytime you see EN, that's Employee Navigator. That's either an import that I have done, or that's a recalculation that the system has come in to do, like you've been seeing recently with this auto enroll. And they also do sort of a, I don't know how often they do it, to be honest. I think it's quarterly that they come in and they just run a recalculation of the entire system. Excuse me, and it tends to catch little things. So just point being, anytime you see EN, that's Employee Navigator, that's not anybody on your end that did it, it's not anybody on our end that did it, but you may want to reach out to me and ask for specifics. But know if you see EN, it's either an import or something that Employee Navigator came in to do. So you can see then that this was an import, I can tell you that because I did it. And just today, I finished her profile and I made this all effective back to her hire date. So I changed her class to, you know, there's a division of processing and all other employees, and then it tells me exactly what I made her eligible for. But you'll notice, because it was in modify current and because of her hire date, those went back to 1/1, even though I did that today. So to show you the newly eligible window and all of those things, I also ran another change of her class to add her, to make her 40 hours, which made her eligible for life and AD&D. And then it shows you that that newly eligible window has opened with only that plan. If it had opened with all of the plans, it would have all of those plans listed. And I went ahead and added dental and then medical because I wanted to show you these three little dots. These three little dots are very helpful as well. These dots give you who did it, who it was about, who's been added, what exactly has been changed, when it's changed, effective back to, coverage level. And what you'll see is if there was something in here before, it would show you what was true before. So in this case, it would show you that it went from employee to employee spouse if it had been previously elected. So we can go in actually and show you, oh, just kidding. This would be in modify current. We're talking about the current benefits. Go back to dental. Let's say she came in and changed her mind, or came to you, I should say, and changed her mind. Okay, we don't want him on the plan anymore. Okay, we're going to select that. Go back to my timeline. Shows me that I just did that. Tells you who did it, what time they did it, and then it went from employee spouse to employee. It dropped this dependent. The end date is this date, which we know is going to be the end of the month, and it shows you the change in cost as well, which I think is super helpful. This can be true for any of those kinds of changes that you make through the window. We're going to have those three little dots that will guide you to the next steps and to show you what exactly has gone on. So any questions there? We're just really speeding through all of this stuff. I want to give you guys, make sure you guys are getting everything I'm saying. All right. So this is a lot of information real fast. I want to be sure that I'm not speeding too fast for you. But I do want to show you one other place that you can see changes, and that is the change history. Change history is going to be more for demographics. It's more about what would the carrier need to know that's different other than elections. I don't really use it in this capacity. I tend to only use this, honestly, for things like division changes, department changes, address changes. Those just are much easier to read this way. As you can see, they go from to, and it's all right here when and who did it. So it's kind of a truncated, shortened version of the timeline, but more just demographics, and any dependent changes would also show down here. So honestly, that is all I really have as far as the details, but is there anything that you would all like to go over in more specifics that I just went through, particularly those windows? Those windows took me forever to understand, I'm not going to lie to you. So I had HR reach out to me and say, you know, we really want to be able to let this person do it because your system said they had X number of days. So I do just want to be sure, and I see we've had a number of people join since I began. Did everybody hear about the enrollment windows? Can anybody speak in, type in if you did not? I just want to make sure I'm going through everything for everybody. You all heard it, huh? All right, so it looks like we're good. I really wish I had the sound on so we could have a little bit more of a conversation. I'll make sure that sound is turned on next time. And I will follow this up with an email with, you know, an attachment, kind of like last time, with all of these specifics and some detailed examples to help you out. If there's anything you'd like me to look at with you as far as your enrollment windows are concerned, some timing, things that any kind of concerns, if you want to turn off those emails that your employees get. And I did forget to show you this, so I'm going to show you this real fast. I love this little thing. You can access this as HR, as an admin. So you're in benefits, you're in settings, and you're in the enrollment window. And this is really, I do recommend reaching out to me if you want to make a change so that I'm aware, but you actually can change it yourself. And this see how it works button kind of makes my life a little easier sometimes when I'm having these conversations, because you can pick a date. So I'm on today's date, and it's showing me that a new hire is going to be able to see plans with an effective date anywhere between April 28th and July 27th. So if you expect them to see something that August 1st, something's not set right. So I'm going to go ahead and make this change to 90. That's probably not going to fix it though, is it? Because we want to see later plans. So, but I'm pointing out that it did. Why did it? Right? Why did it? Specified days before the plan effective date. So, okay, so it's just keeping it open way longer. And if you change it to 60, that's going to keep it open after the plan effective date. And then, I'm not sure if this retro changes back or not. Let me find out. What I mean by that is, oh, we were looking at, sorry to be bouncing around sometimes. There you go. So we changed that, and now Alice Cooper, remember he had 64 days, now has 94. Well, we all know he doesn't really have 94 days to make his election. So just know that those dates are based on your waiting periods. If you want to consider changing any of those, or, I've had groups reach out and say, you know what, lock it down at 60. It doesn't matter if they need to elect their life at 60. So again, it's just a conversation. If you want to have, just give me a ring, shoot me a message, however you like, and we'll go from there. But if there are no other questions, that's all I had for you all today. So I'll give it a few minutes in case anybody has any questions. And it can be on last week's or last month's information or this month's information or any other sort of associated question you may have. I do hope this is helpful. I know I talk a lot and pretty quickly, so again, I will follow up with some more specific notes so that you have something to look back toward and reference. And note, as always, I'm always available for questions, concerns, and any changes you might want to make. If there are no other questions, I'll go ahead and end the webinar, and please feel free to reach out with any questions, and I will follow up shortly. Thanks, everybody.